Hello, dear friends. This is Caicedo's feedback for the version sent by Martin, Johnny, and Luis, part of their research. Initially, I want to congratulate you because I can see your progress, your interest in finishing the process, and of course in working hard and with good quality. So if you compare this version, 11th, with the first one sent, of course, there is a lot of improvement and there are very good results. Now I'm going to start giving you my feedback only about from only for two sections. One, the pedagogical intervention, is the one that we actually need to see, and the other one that is going to be for the instruments. Let me start with the pedagogical intervention. I'm not certain if you have quite understood what the pedagogical intervention is. This is like the part in which once we are training students on certain strategies. So something that has to come here is the production of certain lesson plans that actually guide students to understand the strategy. So I would like to see those lesson plans as a minimum. They should be 8 lesson plans in which ones you train students not only on the language but also on the strategy. Since you have taken the last stage of the process, that is a self-assessment, you might consider that you don't need a lesson plan, etc. However, I think that through the way that you teach, there must be a variation so students become every single moment more acquainted on what self-assessment is and what improving oral ability in the areas of grammar, range, and accuracy. I don't know if this makes any sense for you. So the plan here is that you actually describe how that process would be. In the ones that you're mentioning, like phases here in the pedagogical intervention. So we have well, I think that is still, this is a part that we could discuss or you can discuss by yourselves. But I kind of suggested some stages here. Let me see. Okay, some stages here that though they are not very technical or they are not very precise, they can give you an idea on how to prepare those lessons. Sorry about this. So number one, I think, is the learning process per se. So there must be any description of that learning process in which ones, I don't know if you will be doing like analysis of certain models. Let's say that at a certain point, if video is part of the tool that you're going to be using in the project, so you can start playing with videos, having students analyzing videos of different talks. So the strategy becomes explicit before students are actually sent to that. So I don't know if it is clear, but I think that actually there must be any definition in which ones we actually um, train scaffold students on what self-assessment is, what speaking is, what improving speaking is, and how we can help them to recognize the mistakes. Because I'm worried about this, that we are sending students to identify certain mistakes, but we are not certain they will be able to identify them. Of course, there is a phase in which ones we have to, let's say, train students on the use of the instrument. So if you have trained students, let's say that if you develop your classes, let's say, okay, we are working on speaking, let's analyze this video. Guys, what can you see about this video? What was the problem of the student? What are the characteristics of these students regarding grammar? What do you see that is okay, that is wrong, that should be improved? So through this guidance, students are actually understanding what you want to do. Even you can start introducing like some of the instruments that you are actually using, so students can actually take notes and understand what we expect from them. Because for now, I don't see that image clear. What will you be doing in the class? And the three of you have to do exactly the same actions. Okay? There is a moment, probably the phase number 3, don't know, that students will actually be working on the task and on the self-assessment task. So students definitely will have certain instructions, and you have to give them the instructions, and that is part of the pedagogical implementation, and that is part of the lesson plans that I am asking you to prepare. So students have the instructions, they have the task, and you send them with certain period of time so they can record their videos, and after that they can self-assess their task with the instruments you are using, and they can actually produce and complete the journals and can complete the grid that you are suggesting. At the same time, there must be a moment, that's the way that I see it, that students should send you the video. So we have to find the platform in which ones you can actually see the students' video. YouTube, maybe, a channel of YouTube, so students can upload their videos over there. So actually, I'm sorry about this. So actually, the plan is that students can actually, you can actually have the students' video, so you can actually um, let's say, compare your analysis with their analysis, because exactly in that part, you will see that students have problems analyzing and seeing what they should improve and how self-assessment can improve. And of course, there will be like a fourth or fifth phase in which once you have this comparison. So that's what I'm thinking could be the self-assessment, the pedagogical implementation. Of course, the names that I am suggesting here can be more sophisticated. So instead of writing what I have done, you can write the preparation stage, the speaking stage, the self-assessment stage. Well, you name it as you want it, and I'm sorry, and the more original you are, the better it will be. Okay, now I want to give you feedback on the instruments. So again, I have to tell you here that there is a great effort seen, and there is well, I'm happy that you have been following and recommendations, and that you have been um, like uh, like following what we have discussed in our meetings, synchronic or asynchronic, because in that way we have been working. A comment here. Mm, okay, we are saying this, que estoy usando y actualmente necesita improving. Okay. Okay, that's a part. Pay attention to, especially in your if you're using Spanish, to the accents, like practicas, más, etc. Okay. Well, this is just an example of a task, but for students to produce this task, there should be like a learning training, and that is the one that I am asking about. When will this training be? Okay, let me write it here. How will the training how will the training happen? Okay, so it's very important that you have it clear and it is connected with the pedagogical intervention. Now it comes the instrument, so I have a lot of suggestions again, but I think that now if you do certain changes and pilot it, just a very brief piloting, we will have the final instruments. We definitely agree that we need to have a rubric. Here you will have my comments. In general terms, my suggestions is that we have two rubrics, one that is going to be for students and the other one that will be used by teachers. With the comments, you will understand what I mean. I have suggested some changes by using certain theory, especially a book that I found from Testing for Language Teachers. And I think that you can use and take advantage of the book, the material that you use in classroom-based evaluation. I suggested at a certain moment to write certain numbers to actually know the type of mistakes, but given a second thought, it might be difficult for you and for the students to actually count how many mistakes a student has. So I try to include here like certain, let's say, adverbs that I would like that you highlight at a certain moment, like majority, frequent, somehow, etc., etc. So I hope that you can actually see that. I have a suggestion here that you can include like a mini definition, the same one that you are included in the theoretical framework, adapted for you and for the students. So when Luis and Johnny and Martin use this rubric, they actually have in mind, okay, or keep in mind that this is what we understood by accuracy and by grammatical range, same as for students. There is a suggestion that if we have two rubrics, one for students and one for teachers, so one we can use makes, the student makes, and if it is for students is I make or I, so like more personalized, okay? That's the first instruction I have for you. The second one is that we have to have a grid or a way, a record to keep information, not only you but also students. So I have here a proposal. Let me see if my computer opens before the time is off. And you will see two options. This is the option one, the one that you already had, and it is a, so I'm thinking about how you will keep record of that. And one of the option is that you actually have a student 1, 2, and 3, and you can write the comments here for each student. The other one is the instrument that you have. So well, you will see it in the option 1, and instead of having this vertical, you will have it horizontally. What I was thinking is how will you tabulate information? So think about the future that you can actually tabulate in order to give numbers, to give percentages, etc. I'm not certain about the section comments because in that one I don't see what you want to write. So if I were the person, this is the second one, if I were the second one to use this section comments, I would like to have a more precise instruction of what kind of things should I write there. So I will send you this file so you can have it as a reference. Okay, well, I think that in general terms, those are the comments. I have, the computer is now not working. I have some other comments regarding the interview and the interview and the journal form. Again, they are not very clear what is the intention, when they will be used, how will they be used, and the kind of information. The most important, guys, is that you actually consider and always keep in mind that what we are doing is looking for ways to answer the objectives and the research question that you have. I'm afraid that if we continue with the way that you are writing your statements, especially in these open documents, we might have information that might not be useful for us. So there are more comments in your document and in the checklist to actually improve these instruments. My strongest suggestion is to pilot some instruments with some students that are not students participating in the study. If you send me this weekend the new version of the instruments as well as the lesson plans for the pedagogical intervention, I think we can kind of adapt the timeline that you are suggested. So I hope that you find this feedback useful. Please control your stress a little bit. We are, I see the two, but of course we need to think about everything at the same time. Okay, guys, thank you so much.